go with another recipe for this week. I figured I would do a cake, some kind of dessert for 4th of July. Just thought it was appropriate. And this cake I love. I've had this before. And I figured I'd bring it to you guys, see what you guys think about it. Maybe you've even had it before. Maybe you guys use the same ingredients, maybe you don't. All right, so well, what we're doing, as you've seen by the title, we're doing a Hawaiian cake today. And we're going to start off, we're going to use a boxed cake, okay? Before anybody says anything as far as using a boxed cake, if you're making a yellow, if you have a recipe for a yellow cake, you can absolutely use that if you want to. That's fine. I'm just trying to speed up this process, make it very simple for people, and make it quick. Hopefully that's how this turns out. All right, so we have a thing of Duncan Hines classic yellow cake. We have 3 eggs in here, half a cup of water. We have a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and that is what we're going to need for the cake. Okay, we're going to get going on that very soon. Preheat your oven 350. Okay, now for the topping and for everything else, we're going to use, well, we might not use all this, but I have 2 20-ounce cans of crushed pineapple. Try to use a name brand pineapple on this. Sometimes if you use you know, like Walmart brand or whatever your local grocery store is near you, sometimes you get like hard pieces of the core in there because it's all machine kind of separated. So usually Dole does a good job with that. I usually don't like canned pineapple. I usually cut my own pineapple up, and feel free, go ahead and do that. Just make sure it's very small and it's drained, okay? We're gonna do 8 ounces of Cool Whip, 8 ounces of cream cheese. We also have some Jello up here. I'll put all this down in the description too. 3.4 for the instant pudding. Now, the only thing that I'm not showing here is the milk. You're going to need 2 cups of milk for this, and the reason for that is because the milk has to be very cold when you go ahead and make this. Over here we got some maraschino cherries over here. Over here we have some sweetened coconut. I use the sweetened coconut because, well, I'm a sweet freak, I guess. And up here we have some walnuts. All right, that's what you're going to need for this recipe. Wait till you see how this comes out. This is actually a very tasty, refreshing kind of dessert, and it's been hot here in the Northeast. So another 97, 98 degree day today with what, 107, 108 with the heat index, somewhere around there. So I figured this would be a little bit refreshing to do this today. All right, if you guys like what I do, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We do something every week. So the other things that you're going to need is you are going to need a hand mixer, and you are going to need a 9x13 non-stick cake pan if you have one. If you don't have non-stick cake pan, you can just spray a little bit of like Pam or very light coating of butter on it. You know, whatever you want to do there is fine. Okay, so here we go. We're going to bring a bowl in here, and we're just going to pull this off of the tray, and we're going to open up our cake mix. It's going to be really hot today. Yesterday was super hot. Today's going to be hot. We're in a little bit of a heat wave here. All right, so we're just gonna open this up. We're gonna just dump this in the bowl. Okay. Garbage. Okay, now we're just going to crack our eggs. These are large eggs, by the way, so you're going to do 3 large eggs. So I might as well walk you through this step for people that don't know how to do this, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm here for, is is to teach you guys how to do this. All right, in goes our half a cup of water, and here goes our quarter cup of vegetable oil. Okay. All right, now what we're going to do, it's important that you have your oven preheating or preheated prior to doing this. The reason why I say that is because as soon as you're done mixing this, this needs to go in the pan directly in the oven. All right, so we're going to start this out slow. Just until it's all incorporated, basically, is what it's for. Alright, and then what I'm going to do super quick is we're going to take our spatula and we're just going to take down the edges here and make sure that everything is well mixed, okay? And we'll just continue this for another minute. Okay, so I think that is good. Just like that. I should have had a... Why am I unprepared? Okay, so we're going to get a paper towel. We're going to do this just so we don't do that. Okay, what you heard there was my oven preheating. Okay, so this needs to go in here quickly. Okay, so we're gonna pour this cake batter in here, and now we're just gonna spread this evenly. And then this is going to go right in. I'm using a 9x13 pan, so by the time this rises in the oven, it's going to take about, I don't know, what is it, like 20 to 22, 23 minutes. Okay, in the oven it goes. Our cake is done. I'll show you what the cake looks like as soon as it comes out the oven, about 20 minutes. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to start doing our pudding mix, okay? So I have my cold milk sitting here, 2 cups. We're just going by what the box says to use. So we're doing 2 cups of whole milk. I wouldn't recommend doing skim milk or anything like that with this because it's just not going to mix up the right way. But you could do 2% milk if you wanted to. But I would definitely recommend doing a whole milk for this. So if you have whole milk is where you want to be. All right, we're just going to dump in this. We're going to dump in this vanilla pudding. Throw that aside. We're going to grab ourselves a. Yeah, we're going to grab ourselves a whisk. That might be a little too big. Let's grab this one. Okay. So we're going to grab ourselves a whisk. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to dump this in. And we're just going to whisk. And that's all you're doing here. 2 cups of milk, 1 package of 3.4 vanilla pudding, instant pudding, nothing that you do on the stove. All right, and this is all I'm going to do for about 2 minutes. Okay, and then you're going to start feeling it set up. Now, I'm not going to bore you guys with this whole thing. So we mixed this for 2 minutes so far, okay? And you can see that it's all coming together. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to let this sit for 5 minutes. We're going to let this come together, and then we're going to put in the whipped cream, and we're going to beat up the Philadelphia cream cheese. And we're going to do that in just a second, but let this sit for another 5 minutes, and then put it in the refrigerator if you don't think you're ready to combine everything yet, just to keep it nice and cold. Okay, we'll be right back to beating up your, but I made it sound like I was assaulting something just then, didn't I? Okay, so here we go. We're going to take our Philadelphia cream cheese, 8 ounces. So you're going to need 1 bar for this recipe. And we're going to open it up. This is at room temperature. I took this out this morning when I woke up, so it's kind of room temperature right now. It's easier to mix if you do that. That's why most recipes turn around and say room temperature, especially for cream cheese, right? Because cream cheese as a whole is pretty dense. Okay, in goes the cream cheese, and we're gonna get all the cream cheese that we can off that. All right, now all we're gonna do is we're just gonna beat this up a little bit. Okay, so the cream cheese is done. We look at this as creaming it, okay? So you want to just beat this up until it's nice and creamy and everything's consistent. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so the only thing we're going to do now is we have our pudding. I didn't put my pudding in the refrigerator because I knew that I was going to be using that this quick. Now, if you look at the pudding, now look at it. Okay, see how thick it is? See how it sets up? It doesn't even come off. Doesn't even come off the whisk. No problem. That's actually how you want it. Okay, so we're just going to mix it. I always have a problem with doing this. Oops, sorry about that. I always have a problem with doing this backwards. I don't know. All right. But we get used to it, right? We have to. We've got to get used to doing this like this. Or I just stop making recipes where I need to pour stuff into another bowl where you guys can actually see it. All right, so that's that. And now we're going to take our Cool Whip. Now you can use whatever kind of whipped cream you want to. I suppose you could make your own if you want to. Just make sure that your Cool Whip is unthawed. Very important. Okay, we're doing the whole 8 ounces. Now you can see where this recipe is going, right? All right, so pouring this in there, and then this is going to be the topping for our cake, and we're folding this in. Okay, so you're literally just folding it in until it's all incorporated. All right, so I'm going to keep folding this in so I don't bore you guys. We're going to keep folding this in, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when I'm done with it. And then we're going to put this in the refrigerator. We're going to let this sit up. It's supposed to be set up. And then we're just going to let this get nice and cold. And this is going to be the topping for our cake when it comes out of the oven. So we'll see in just a second or so. Okay, so our timer just went off on our cake. Which that was good timing because I'm just about ready to put and this is what our cake looks like now. How delicious does that look? Golden brown. All right, so now we're going to do the old toothpick. Okay, so we're going to see if the cake is done in the middle. We're just going to stick it down in the cake and we're going to pull it out. And if that toothpick comes out clean, like this here, this cake is done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this settle for just a couple of minutes here. I'm going to stick this on a wire rack. It's going to speed up the cooling process. When this cake is completely cooled, then I'm going to bring you guys back. We're going to show you, we're going to put the topping on it, the cherries on it, the walnuts and coconut. This is going to be fantastic. So we are back. We got the cake all nice and cooled. Okay, no Nothing hot about this at all. I let this go for, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere around there. Just make sure that when you pick it up, there's no heat to it. The reason why that's what you want to do is because the Cool Whip and the pudding mixture, which this is what it looks like when it comes out of the refrigerator. You can see it's hot around here today. You got a little bit of moisture, not moisture, but a little bit of cloudiness on the bowl there, is because any heat from this will affect that and it'll cause that like to melt. Okay, so now there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can take this out of the pan if you'd like to, and most all cakes usually rise in the center a little bit more than what the edges do. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but you can take a cake cutter if you want to, or a corrugated edge. I'm not going to do that with this cake. I'm just going to frost it and put the pineapple down and all that stuff right inside this pan. This is going to be my serving pan. Okay, but you certainly could use a cake cutter. If you guys don't know what a cake cutter is, it is this thing. Okay, and you adjust it by each side up and down, and you take it like this. Well, I guess you would take it like this if the cake was on the cutting board, and you would move it and kind of shimmy it through it, and then what it would do is that wire would just shave off the top of the cake. Okay, so you can do that if you're worried about that you don't want the hump in there or whatever. Okay, so first things first. Okay, what we're going to do is I put my pineapple, and like I said, we're doing 1 can, so at least for right now. And let's see if I can push this off so you can see what I'm doing. So I put it over a bowl with a whatchamacallit in a strainer, a real fine mesh strainer, and all we do is we just kind of get most of the, you can see, we just get most of the pineapple juice out of it, okay? Because you don't want to make the cake soggy. That's the whole reason behind that. Now, if you want that little bit of sogginess, then you can leave some of the juice in, okay? So I think that's good. We're just going to set this aside. So that's what I'm doing there. Let's wipe off the cutting board and get the cake back in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this pineapple, and we're going to, now this all depends. You can use more or less, like I said. Really all depends. I'm going to use at least that can, and I think that is what I'm going to use. And we're just going to spread this out. Okay, I personally think 2 cans would be overkill, but it depends on how much pineapple you like. Okay, that's it, just like that. Pineapple is done. Okay, now if you want to just push it down like this, I'm just using an offset spatula here because when I put this cream on, that's, I don't know, just what it's easy for me to do that with that. So that's my go-to, right? So this here, no special way, we're just gonna put this all over the top, and then we're just gonna start spreading it. When you put the coconut on and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get this about like that. Okay, just like that. Okay. I think we got enough. Yeah, you think so? Let's see. Let's get another spoonful in there. I decided to fire up my grill while this cake was cooling, and I'll tell you, I miss the smell of the grill sitting outside and barbecuing. All right, we're all done. Okay, so next, we got some sweetened coconut that we're just gonna turn around and we're gonna sprinkle all over the top. Now again, this is just one of those things where it's just how much you like, right? You like a lot of coconut, put a lot of coconut in it. And if you don't want it sweetened, don't buy it sweetened then. Okay, I just go for a nice level, you know, nice even thing there. Okay, that's just me. And then we're gonna top this off with a little bit of walnuts. And I have about 1/3 of a cup here, but not saying I'm gonna use all these. So there we go with that. And now we're just gonna take my hands in here, and we're gonna have at the cherries. Okay. Now you can estimate each piece of cake if you want to. I don't. I just kind of do this. Because I like a lot of cherries, we're putting a lot on. You put as many as you want to put on. Okay. All right, there we go. That, I think, is pretty good. And we are going to take some toothpicks. We're going to take the toothpicks and we're going to stick them in the top, and then we're going to lay a thing of saran wrap over it. This is going to go in the refrigerator for, I don't know, an hour. We're just basically just throwing some cold to it, right? And then we're going to take it out, we're going to cut it, we're going to plate it, we're going to do a little bit of taste test, and that is it. So that is a Hawaiian cake. That's how I make my Hawaiian cake. About 2 hours later, I let this cake sit in the refrigerator after I wrapped it and put some toothpicks in it. So that's how I wound up wrapping it. So we're just going to peel off the saran wrap. And then I wound up putting just toothpicks in it, like this. Okay, so we're just going to yank the toothpicks out. The only reason why I put the toothpicks in is because I didn't want the saran wrap to fall down and touch the top of the whipped cream, the frosting. All right, so there we go. We're gonna wipe that up first. All right, so this is nice and cold now. We're gonna cut this up. This is how I make the Hawaiian cake. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut this up here, and we're gonna, actually, you know what? We're gonna start here. I don't know why I was starting on the other side. All right, now let's pull let's pull a piece out of this. Let's plate this up. What I recommend is to go through it with this, the lines you cut with another small spatula, okay, to get it out, just to make sure that all your lines are cut. All right, that's what I would do. All right, now we're gonna take a piece. Ooh. We're gonna take a piece and put it right there. And that is exactly look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Woohoo! Alright, so if you guys like what I do here, go ahead, put a thumbs up, share this with your friends, click the notification bell, and you know, get this video out there. This is a good recipe here. I'm going to get a thumbnail real quick, and I'm going to come back, and we are going to turn around and we're going to do a taste test. I've had this before. I know what this tastes like. This is fantastic. Okay, give me 1 second. Be right back with you. Okay, so we've got our thumbnail out of the way. We're gonna grab a fork here, and we're gonna go right into this side over here because there's a cherry on the edge. We're just gonna get right into the edge of this. Very sweet. Coconut's fantastic in this. Little crunch from the walnut. This is just an all-around good, refreshing dessert. Fantastic. And it's refreshing too. Alright guys, there you go. This is how we make our Hawaiian cake. This is for the 4th of July. If you guys make this, in the comments below, let me know exactly how you liked it. Alright, you guys got all the ingredients. Not a difficult recipe to make. Alright. Alright, you guys give this a try. This is good stuff here. Alright, once again, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. We do a recipe every single week. Hit that like button, good or bad. And leave a comment if you guys want to see me make something or you're interested in something. Go ahead, leave it in the comments. We'll put it on the list of things to do. Alright, but once again, here's another dessert Hawaiian cake. Alright guys, everybody have a great week coming up, and I will see you next week.